everyone. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Mo Money Mondays, brought to you by All About Us Media. I am your host, Vanda Jamison of the Jamison Legacy Group. You can follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook at Jamison Legacy Group and get all the notifications in real time as they drop. And please follow All About Us Media right here on the same platforms. Be sure to catch our Facebook Lives, okay? And subscribe to AAU YouTube. Just hit that subscribe button right below. Again, thanks for joining us here on Mo Money Mondays. I am Vanda. I'm a wealth builder. I'm a financial strategist, a retirement specialist, an insurance broker, and I believe in leaving a legacy. Okay, my passion lies in empowering folks with financial education, and I help ordinary people create extraordinary wealth. So I believe that it all starts with a plan, sprinkled with a lot of passion. And so here on Mo Money Mondays, we are committed to helping your money make sense. So let's get into it. As a financial educator, I've had the pleasure of working with so many business owners, all with different interests, different niches. It's, these days, tough economic times can inspire a lot of creativity when it comes to new business ideas. And tonight, I don't know if we have a new one, but it's definitely creative. Have you ever had a conversation with one of your friends or colleagues about a business idea and you thought to yourself, that's so crazy? Well, if so, then I suggest you latch on to that idea, encourage them, and consider turning it into reality because, when let's just say that sometimes a not so ordinary business idea can actually turn into a business that is not only unique, but very, very profitable too. Business is all about filling a market gap, right? A need that is not yet fulfilled. And it's a sure bet that no matter how strange or weird the idea may sound at first, that there is someone somewhere in the world looking just for that service or that product and waiting for you to start offering it. So at this time, I'd like to bring light to the spaces that we don't often talk about, right? And tonight we're going to talk a little bit about how it can impact and improve your financial being. It all begins with passion. Again, passion. Passion that business owners have from the beginning when they pursue their career. It's a fact that business will get challenging at times, right? We all have ups and downs as entrepreneurs in business, but with persistence and passion, your business absolutely will be invincible, especially if you love what you do. If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And so I'm so excited to bring you guys tonight's guest. Are you ready? Tonight we have the Coochie Coach with us, aka Miss Nikki Brown. And I want to talk about her before I bring her in, okay? There's a lot to tell about the Coochie Coach. First of all, she's humorous. She's funny as ish, okay? Authentic. She's a social mompreneur who prides herself with being a woman on the move, living life on the skinny branches. That's her quote, on the skinny branches, right? Which means that she's just shimmering everywhere. And she is the epitome of what it means to walk on faith and marry it with action. How about that? She's a mother. She's an author. She's a virtual and a real life traveler. And she's also a community advocate. She's a mentor. She's an educator. She's actually teaching these days. She's my sister friend, and she's also a sexual freedom strategist. And we're going to talk about what that means, especially as a business. But I want you to know that for over 20 years, she has led women and youth from juvenile offender programs to the traditional classroom through independent consulting firms and ultimately women's healing conferences. How powerful is that? She's the founder of the Coochie Coach LLC. That's right, LLC, which is a coaching and consulting consortium that includes leading candid conversations, workshops, and customized VIP sessions about sex, intimacy, and pandemic pleasure. But I want you to know that, there's more behind just her conversations. She holds a BA in sociology, an MS in urban policy analysis and management. How about that? An MS in education and leadership. She's currently preparing to begin her doctoral studies. Oh my goodness. In depth psychology with a concentration on community. And we really need this. The work that Miss Brown does is so essential, including, bringing into our community liberation, indigenous and eco psychologies. In addition to her formal education, she is an ordained minister. Do you hear that? An ordained minister, a certified womb wellness practitioner. We've talked a little bit about that in the past. And seasonal stage performer. We're going to hear more about that too. Anyway, the Coochie Coach is growing a movement to empower sexually liberated women all around the globe. And her latest ebook, okay, guys, is entitled A to C Pandemic Pleasure. We're going to talk about that a little bit too. It focuses on how women can experience pleasure in the midst of pandemonium and civil unrest without guilt or shame, an area that we never talk about and we do not address. So she's from New York and she plans to be bi-coastal soon. I'm so excited. She is so young with a 25-year-old son and an 8-year-old daughter. Please welcome the Coochie Coach, Miss Nikki Brown.
Oh, hi,
So happy to have you here. So happy to have
to
you
be
here.
here.
I had to include it all. I had to include it all. It's so phenomenal that the more I learned about you, um, the more the more the more powerful you became
Oh,
in my eyes. So I hope that I was able to drive that home to you folks, how well rounded this young lady is and
thank you.
how important the work is that she does. Yeah, so welcome. So tell us just a little bit about yourself. I speak to groups often about, first of all, we are on Mo Money Mondays. And so I love the fact that you have this creative niche that you have made into your business. I
Mm-hmm.
can't wait to hear more about that. But go ahead. I'm going to let you introduce yourself now. I'll mic down.
Well, you know what? You did such a wonderful job at reading the bio. I was listening to it, going, "Wow, this woman is really awesome." And right, and it's me, right? It's really nice to listen to someone else describe
Mhm.
you, and the bio, right? Because it's all true. Now, the only thing I'll say I need to update is the part about being in a doctoral program. That program was extremely oppressive, so I dropped out of it, because it just
Okay.
didn't feed my soul, right? So the description in the brochure was better than the real experience, and I wanted a real life experience. And so I'm out here living the life of what it would look like if I actually did those doctoral studies. So one day I may, jump back in there. I've been in a PhD program. So yeah, I mean, I'm Nikki Brown. I am, you said it all in the bio. However, there's something that I hold dear to my spirit, and that is one of being a writer. right? I've written 3 books, right? Self-published 3 books, but there's something inside of me that is this natural writer, right? If I can wake up every day and just write and be handsomely paid, I'm in heaven. I'm in heaven.
Beautiful.
There's something about people call me. My friend called me tonight. Hey, I'm going to publish my book finally. I said, I hope it's before this year is over. She said, absolutely. Right. And she says, well, I want to write a book about this. And I want to write a book about this. And I immediately merged them, created a title in like 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes. And she's like, that's why I called you. Right. And so that's something that I think is a gift from God. Like I can take words and synchronize them in a way that makes them simple and easy and palatable for whomever is going to be the audience. And so I think that's a piece that I leave out of the bio.
It is indeed a gift. And guys, I actually had the pleasure to witness it last week. I did. I watched this woman work a room. Let me tell you. We were at the Plaza. Okay. I'm just gonna say. So we were at the Plaza Hotel for a fundraiser. Um, and it was for the Aspen Institute. It was amazing. And there were not many of us in the room. And I watched the Coochie Coach work that room. So, yes, I have seen your gift for verbiage, for connection, for communication. And it is indeed a gift. So I believe it. I
Yeah,
believe it. I believe it.
yeah. So ask away. What are
So,
you going
so we've met a couple of times and didn't really know that we had met.
to? Right.
And so the second time that we met, we were talking about, I was explaining what I do
Yeah.
and how I'm devoted to my community and helping people create financial wellness.
Yeah.
And you shared that you said, oh my God, we've been talking about this in my family. And that was part of the lore here. And I thought, well, I would love you to speak to that. It seems like you have a handle on your money personality, because there is a psychology to our money story. So would you mind elaborating on your money story? What's your money story? Because I know that it involves more than just you and you're
Yeah,
aware of this.
absolutely. I mean, I will say that I became aware of money, like conscious, like my first conscious memory was probably when I was about 7. And it was me stealing from my mother. And she gave me a quarter. I took an extra quarter, but I was a silly child, right? So I put 2 quarters in my pocket. The moment that I moved, you could hear it jingle, right? And my mother's like, what's that? And I'm like, huh? What? Trying to play the girl. And in that moment, I lost both quarters, right? Because my mother wasn't going to tolerate me being a thief. And so what I learned about myself is that I'm a terrible thief and I'm not really good at lying. And so I began to that's probably my journey of like money and being authentic around it, right? The way I was nurtured around money was reckless, right? Total recklessness, no responsibility in my household around finances at all, right? And so you might imagine how mad my life was with people who didn't manage money. So my mother didn't manage it well. My father was cheap. My aunt was really responsible, but she wasn't sharing it. My other aunt, people used money in ways to control and dominate in my family. And I learned, I felt like I didn't want to ever control anybody in that way. And so I became a spendthrift. Right? I'm going to spend, I'm going to share my money, honey. We're going to go out and I'm going to pay the bill. I'm not waiting for all of you to gather your coins and we're not going to do $2.25. Here, take my card. And if you got it, pay me. And if you don't, it's fine because I've got it. Right? Because for me, it seemed easier to just pay bill. I'm not going to I didn't want to fight about $2.50 because I grew up with the people around me arguing, not speaking to each other. being angry with one another for many, many years, even to this day, about $400, $2, $1. It didn't matter. And I realized I didn't want to be that way. But I also learned, I mean, it took me some time, that that wasn't a healthy way to be with money either. Because you spend and spend and spend, and then you have nothing for yourself.
Well, they say money is energy. So, what were you giving away?
Hello,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Deeper than the cash.
How about that? How about that? Okay, so it's getting better, and everyone, are you all learning together? What are you
Yeah,
teaching
I
your
mean, what I
children?
felt like I needed to do was, clearly I've been doing work around it in ways that my mother just is not going to do. And my children don't have the facility, so I have to be the one. So I'm like the middle child, right? So I've gone and I'm doing work around. I'm in trauma of money, learning to heal the trauma that I have been impacted by when it comes to money, wealth, conversations about it, all of it, right? I'm learning it, and now my job is to exemplify what it looks like to be responsible around finances when I talk to my son, who's 25, right? And then when I teach my daughter, who's 9, who's going to be 9 in 3 days, right? And
Cool.
so it's a conversation. And even with my mom, like, even though she's like, I'm not going, she's not going to change her habits around how she uses her money, yet she is talking about things she never talked about before: home ownership, right? 72 years old, never talked about home ownership, right? But now it is a thing that she can consider, and she's researching online, and what does that look like for her, right? Even at her age. And she would not have done that had I not begun to transform how I was living around finances and being straight, right? Directly communicating with her about the impact that she had on me, even if she could say, "Oh, you're 50 now, you can't." No, but the impact was lasting, right? It wasn't until I interrupted the story that I began to do something different.
Yes. Yes. And the idea that we can actually affect our environment based on our own behavior, shifting our own behavior can inspire those around us to
Yeah,
shift.
yeah,
Right? We
absolutely,
don't even have to work that hard if we just focus on ourselves.
absolutely.
And that's what I just heard. And that right there is amazing. I also feel like, my mom is an elder. She's 84. There's, it's a different time. There was a time when elders would say, I'm never going to do that. I'm just going to, and be stuck in their ways. There's no room these days to be stuck
Yeah,
in your ways.
yeah.
We are ruled by information and technology.
Mm,
So even though the elders or those, the older folks may not be interested in moving forward or shifting, it's
mhm.
inevitable.
It is. It is.
It's inevitable. And that's what I just heard.
Yeah,
So good for mom.
yeah,
Uh, wow, that's going to make life so much easier. And that'll be a whole joy to really share that
yeah,
area
yeah.
together in this lifetime.
Absolutely. 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 I
Wonderful.
feel like, I always talked about owning a home or buying something, but it was in conversation because I didn't have the tools on how to facilitate that with power, right? And
Mm,
now I got inspired. I went to a homeowners workshop, home buyers workshop, and I got inspired because as an entrepreneur, my income is not always steady, right? And so I was like, oh, wait a minute, I need steady income for a certain amount of time so that blah, 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 blah. So this is
yeah,
what so that's the inspiration now, is because I'm really ready for home ownership. And
excellent.
so I immediately went into, oh, let me find a job. And so I got a job. So the job is the anchor while I build my business. And not like in the way that other people, people have done it, right? People say, oh, don't quit your day job. If your day job doesn't satisfy you and it causes you pain physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, you might need to leave. At least that's what I did in my case, right? And I was okay with that because my sanity was more important, right? It wasn't until I came full circle where I was like, well, I want to work in a particular way. So the way that I work now is I work part-time hours, but for many people, it's full-time pay,
Mm,
right?
excellent. Right. And the
And
job is your investor in your business,
that
right?
part,
Because we all need an investor,
exactly.
whether
Like
it's
that.
a loan or
Yeah,
it's a job.
yeah,
It takes money to build your empire. So
absolutely.
it's all about perspective, right? How you
Mhm.
look at it.
Yeah.
Uh, excellent. Good for you. So now, while you are developing this business, well, I want to back up. Wait a minute. I just want to know. Okay, so how did you know you were the coochie coach? How did this even come about? How did you choose the name? How did you even know that this niche was an area that you could create business at? Give us the
Okay.
rundown.
So I'll go back to being 16 years old, right? Well, first of all, I've always enjoyed sex, always enjoyed talking about sex. But I grew up in a time where that was like taboo, right? Taboo, you better not say it, right? At 16, I had a conversation in a room full of women, and I was speaking about it very freely. And this is according to my sister's recollection, because I don't recall it. So my story is I got into this because at 30, I wanted to transform my own life around my womb and my womb health, right? And so I took a course with Queen Afua and got extremely educated
Oh, nice.
around my womb and my womb wellness, right? And I took that course, then I became a teacher in it, and I got certification from the Queen Afua Wellness Institute. And
Beautiful.
then I just was living it on my own. And then one day I was like, oh, I'm going to become a teacher in this. I got to teach a class. And so I would do that. And then when I found myself trying to be Queen of Fua, calling it, oh, Womb World Universe, I was doing all this stuff. And if you know anything about Queen of Fua
I
is a
do.
vegan. She is,
Ah,
namaste. She is,
yeah,
and
she's
she's been
amazing.
living this life for 50 years. And here I was trying to do Queen of Fua in 10 years, right? And I recognized I couldn't be Queen of Fua. I had to be Nikki Brown. And so how was womb healing, womb empowerment going to be birthed through me in my authentic voice and and using truth and power in the way that I know. And so I went through a range of levels. I was Wombs University. Then I was like, oh, that's too woo woo. That's not me. And then I got all the way over to the left, and it was My P Matters. I had a conference, had all these ages, different generations. It was amazing. And then one day I said, I have a young child. I have a daughter. This is my daughter was born. She's like maybe 2 or 3 years old, 3 or 4. And I said, okay, she can't tell people her mother does conferences called My P Matters because the world isn't ready for that yet. So I thought, I think I want to be the coochie coach, right? And at the time I was working with a marketing girl, and I called her and I said, the coochie coach. That's who I am. She said, I love it.
Yeah.
It is catchy. It's blah blah blah, right? And so I started calling myself the coochie coach. I went online. There was no one in social media at the time saying anything coochie, and so I was the only one. Well, as you know, in the universe, if you don't move, other things are moving, right? Short. I mean, I want to say in a matter of months, there was a coochie doctor. There was someone who does real estate, but she changed her name to Coochie something just because, right? But she was known for real estate. And then you started to see other people emerge using the strong word, the P
Mhm.
word in books, you know, all of it. And they're out there living. And so I recognize that there is a market, right? I'm not the only one. What I'm clear about though is I'm the only one that tells my own story, right? No one wants to tell their coochie story because we're ashamed and we're embarrassed and the world makes us feel bad about it. And so
Right. We weren't taught that we can tell our coochie stories.
no, no, you weren't taught that. But even in society, still, right? There's still a lot of shaming
Yeah.
around being a sexual being if you're a woman. And don't put that with being a Black woman and being sexually liberated and free. So I believe that it's a gift from God. I speak about it in any arena with facility and power, dignity, right, and decorum. And it's totally education, right? I'm an educator at the core. 25 years I've been in education. So I just took the subject that I love to talk about and now I teach about it.
I love it. I love it. And as I say, it involves parts that are not new. Right? This avatar has
Right.
existed since time,
The
and
beginning of
yet
time, absolutely.
we have not been having these conversations. Well, we're going to go to a commercial,
Okay.
and then we're going to come back because I have more that I want to know about. I want to ask more, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, guys, you're listening to Mo Money Mondays. We will be right back.
Hello, this is Najesti from Butter Me Essentials Natural Hair and Body Company. We are located in Brooklyn, New York. We are a family-owned company, which is run by my husband Vaden and I. Do you have hair that is hard to manage? Having trouble with hair growth? Is your skin always dry? No problem. Butter Me Essentials is here with the solution. We specialize in hair butters, pomades, hair elixirs, shampoos, conditioners, luxury soaps, body butters, lotion bars, perfumes, scrubs, and so much more. All of our products is made with natural and organic ingredients such as shea butter, cocoa butter, mango butter, Jamaican black castor oil, avocado oil, Oregon oil, and essential oils. There is no sulfates, petroleum, mineral oils, or parabens, just all natural goodness. If you would like to order our products, check out our website at buttermeessentials.com, buttermeessentials.com, or call 646-524-3351, 646-524-3351. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Remember, like our motto says, you deserve to be buttered.
If I lift up my heart to you, if I open my mouth to give you the glory, it would be hallelujah. We sing
Welcome back. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Mo Money Mondays here on All About Us Media. And tonight, our guest is the Coochie Coach, aka Miss Nikki Brown. She has been funny. She has been entertaining. She has been raw. She's been real. And I am so enjoying you and all of the wisdom that you are sharing about just our bodies. So, okay, let me find my words. You've spoken to the health piece of what you do and the educational part of your business as the Coochie Coach. Can you speak a little bit to how or your vision to impact young people, or how you may already be impacting young people? I'm sure that you are. I would love to know a little bit more about that impact.
So the vision is to one day, because I mean, as many people know, we are living in a society where the mortality rate for Black and brown bodies in birthing in hospitals is too high. You know, we are dying at alarming rates, and so my vision is to have what I call a mobile. It's called the Coochie Coach, actually, like a play on coach, like the coach stage coaches, and
Oh,
right,
I
and
love it. I
it's
love
a
it. I love it. Yeah.
mobile health clinic for maternal
Wow.
wellness, right? So that if you need a doula, you can have access to that, and it comes to you basically. So essentially, it'll come to disenfranchised neighborhoods, and you could see a doula. You could ask questions right outside of your typical prenatal appointment that you only get once a month when you're pregnant, right? When you don't have money and things of that nature. Because I think that everyone should have a personal doula. Like, I'm a doula. I can only service for so many people, but in our mobile capacity, we can reach a whole lot more people. And so I think that for me, I still do think that I'd like to have a birthing center, because again, we need to be able to go places where we can have our babies in peace and not be rushed to an operating room the moment that we walk in the door, with our lives weighing in the balance each time. And so it is, a mobile, doula station, the Coochie Coach. And then there is this physical space that you can go to give birth.
Brilliant. I just think that's brilliant. The Coochie Coach. I love it. I love it. And we are starting to see, more birthing centers. There have been young mothers, and I was actually quite surprised with how prevalent they are within our communities these days. However, a lot of them are within the hospital environment. Yeah. And, the C-sections that they are insisting on are real, especially in our community.
Yeah.
I'm very alarmed by that. We've spoken about that in the past here on Mo Money Mondays as a lucrative
business
way. It's a business, right? Yeah, the C-sections, guys. It's so important to make sure that there is someone with you. Hence the importance of having a doula. Someone with you, so that you don't have these procedures happening while you are with one foot, in the grave and the other foot giving birth. You don't have your wits about you. You're in a completely almost a hallucinogenic state, and the idea that they're asking you questions about what you would like, that always seemed just so crazy.
Or about the ones that they schedule for you in advance, so that they can basically tell you that you're in distress, which creates distress.
Right.
Before distress even shows up, they've already put it in your mind. So if the C-section is scheduled, then you already knew what you were going to do.
Right.
Right.
And that's heightened anxiety right there. So, yeah. So it is definitely a racket. Yeah. We've spoken about that here. Not happy about that. So tell me a little bit about, for my own information and for everyone else, actually, a lot of people don't understand what a doula is. And I know that it's often confused with being a midwife. So can you clarify for us?
So a doula, right off the top, cannot legally deliver a baby, right? So I have no license to deliver a child. My job is to be of support to the mom and the family during pregnancy, during birth, and after birth, right? And so it is a support person that helps you ease your mind, is how I look at it. When I have my clients, it is their birthing process. I'm there to be the steward. But whatever they choose, I have to be okay with, right? I don't give medical advice. I make a general suggestion and then tell you to seek your medical professional, your midwife, or your doctor, whomever you are in the care of. And it's really to ease your mind, right? Someone to say, don't worry about the bag. I got that, right? Even when they're partnered, because both partners are like, oh, we want to get there. We just want the baby to be safe, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, especially if it's the first time. Like, there's, who's got time to go and refer to the book?
Exactly. Who's got time to look at a notebook? Exactly. A textbook. They're like, oh, what is page 32? No, you're not doing that. You're like, oh God, my water broke. Oh, my water didn't break. Oh, I have pain. Oh, I don't have pain. What's going to happen? So you're nervous. You're afraid. You're scared. You are essentially just lost, right? Like, as a person who's had a baby twice, the first time, please, I was like, oh, I think it's time to go. It was like instincts you had to listen to. But boy, how wonderful would it have been if I had a person who was designated the doula. Now, once I got into the room, I had like 3-4 people who were there coaching me and participating in the process. Same thing with the second time around. A room full of people to support me. Like, I had a team of my own team, personal, mom, sister, friends like that in the room, and then the medical professionals, because I find that it's post COVID now, so you probably don't get to have all these people in the room with you, but you had more eyes on you. You had more voices engaged in the conversation. You had people there to advocate. I mean, I happen to have a big mouth, so I was a really big advocate for myself, but most people don't have that, right?
True.
Most people are not asking those questions.
True.
I took a training with a woman with a nonprofit organization that focuses on birth work, and they have this symbol called ACT, right? Where you ask the questions and you bring people with you, and like, these are the things that you do in order to be supported. And so a doula, in my opinion, is there to be your Elmo, your stuffed animal in the birthing process.
I feel like, with the way that the world is going, we might get to a place where hospitals and medical facilities are actually offering and working with doulas as assistant to mothers, during their pregnancy. Do you think that we'll ever get there where because mental health, there was a time when if you weren't a shrink, you weren't considered serious, and
Exactly.
it wasn't good enough to just be a therapist or group therapy. It wasn't taken seriously. Now it's an alternative. Just like mediators in the legal system are now serious alternatives. So do you think that could occur, that doulas become
Well,
a needed assistance to the medical
Well,
practice?
I believe that it could be when we take it back, right? When we take back the birthing process, right?
Okay.
So as long as we relinquish it to the hospital, that won't happen, because they're scheduling C-sections like you schedule a pap smear, right? And so they're scheduling these things. And so it's an operating room. It's sanitized. It's sacred. You can't have a doula in there, right? You can't have anybody in the room, especially if you're not family, right? You're not blood related. The only people involved in a C-section room is the partner, if there is one present, and the mom giving birth, the birthing person, right? And so those are only two allowed in a C-section room. Meanwhile, they got 85 nurses for the baby, 25 doctors and nurses for the for the mom or the birthing person, and no space for the doula. That is the space that you need the doula probably the most. You're
Right.
scared.
Right.
You're under anesthesia. You're delirious.
And you and your partner are anxious, so who is the
Totally.
calm one that knows you, that's been with you through this process up until this moment?
Exactly.
I understand.
So I mean, definitely when we take back the process, when we open up more birthing centers, right, and doctors begin to see that the money is going in another direction.
There you go. That the money is good. Why does it always take that? That the money has to go into go in a different direction before people wake up and realize what's necessary, what people want, or start listening.
Yeah.
You said it.
I mean, the first time I had my son, I had a team of midwives, and those midwives they were classists. Don't get that twisted, right? They took care of me in a big clinic until they knew that I was educated, and then they gave me private care. Well, that was great for me, right? Because I was an educated woman, and whatever. But I believe that we all deserve that, right? I shouldn't get special treatment because I'm educated. Then when it was time for me to give birth, they didn't rush the process. They said, when he's ready, he will come. That is exact. And I'm lying there like, child, he ain't ready yet, you know. And all they did was just wait. Just wait.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's not standard, as I understand. It's you've got the room for a certain amount of time that people feel rushed, women feel rushed.
Yes.
And you're on a
time
schedule.
Yes, you're on a schedule, and you're on the doctor's time schedule, right?
And it's money. We've got to do a certain amount of patients during the course of the day. So there's a quota, guys.
Yes.
There's a quota for how many births must happen in a day.
Yeah.
And that's just fact. So being the creator of a not so ordinary market, or maybe it is ordinary, we've just forgotten.
Ordinary creating an extraordinary perspective.
That's my line. No.
You gave it to me.
Ordinary. I love that. Yeah. How about that? And you are carving out this lane.
Yeah.
Is it difficult?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's difficult because I chose not to be PC, you know.
How could you? How can you be PC and be the coochie coach, though?
But that was the thing. Even the name is not PC, right? I had to, because for me, because there are so many other people out here doing the thing, right? We got yoni eggs, we got steams, we got this, we're doing that. I was like, well, how are they going to know me, right? I can't be another womb worker. I can't, you know, I must be the coochie coach. Definite article, because there's only one, right? And I think that what I also leave out is at the core of this work, it's about sexual freedom and liberation and power. It's because I had my biological sisters die from having sex.
Tell me more.
So when I was about 19 or 20, maybe 19, 4 of my sisters tested positive for HIV. Wow. 2 of them passed away.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So,
wow.
That for me was like, we're dying.
Yeah.
We're dying. And I don't care how many drugs they make, how much you can live with the virus. Oh, it's now undetected. Oh, that's all great, wonderful, and grand. And it's still an epidemic for Black women in America and around
40, 50 years later.
Period.
I didn't know that piece. That puts a completely different light on the entire picture, Nikki. It really does. More powerful than I understood.
Yeah.
For sure.
So for me, it's about saving my life and the lives of other young people, because I'm choosing to have a conversation.
Yes.
About something that my mother didn't want to talk about.
Yes.
Her mother didn't want to talk about.
Yes.
Her mother's mother couldn't talk about, right? We couldn't talk about it. And
for
now,
what is that? I mean, I came from one of those women. As a woman yourself, my mother didn't even talk to me about my period. I found out from my friends, like, just, and you know, I've talked to her about it, and she said, well, I didn't know. And I just think, how could you not know when you're a woman and you have the body and I'm your daughter? But
society, Vanda, society. I have this thing where I say, everybody want to everybody want to fuck, but nobody want to talk about fucking, right? Everybody wants to do it. Everybody wants to experience it, but no one wants to have a conversation.
And we don't talk about the woman that's got 13 kids, right? That was always really trippy to me. Miss Mary's got 13 kids and no husband. And
come on now.
She's 70 now, and she's the pillar of the community. And I just go, what?
Wow. And you
Miss
know they
Mary
didn't.
was a hoe. No.
You know they didn't glorify her when she was having those 13
No.
children.
It's not until she got to be 70, though. Yeah. Facts.
You know.
Facts.
And
Facts.
so I decided that if this is something, sex is something that could potentially kill us, then it's my job to talk about it so that maybe a life can be saved.
Can be saved. I applaud you. So, any advice for younger generation? Because everybody's, entrepreneurship is flint these days.
It is.
And I applaud that. But some of us, some are afraid to color outside the lines because it may not be PC, or no one's doing it, or they've been made fun of because of their passion.
Yeah.
Any words of wisdom for those folks?
Be you, do you, and don't let anybody stop you, right? And get with people who can amplify your voice even when you want to silence it yourself. The only reason that I'm still sitting around talking about being the coochie coach is because whenever I get into a place of disbelief and discouragement, somebody calls me out of nowhere. I get a text. You text me today. Hey, can you be on the show? Like, this is because it's in entrepreneurship. It's not popular culture, because if it were, everybody would be doing it. Right? What we've been trained to do is to get a job, work for someone until you get too old to stand up, and then you retire, and then hopefully you live long enough to collect your retirement checks, right?
Right.
But
and they call it under the guise of security.
Hello, right? And it's fake security because it's not even enough money. It's half of the money, 1/4 of the money that you were getting when you were actually going. And so now you're forced to try to live off of less. It makes no sense, right?
Yep.
And
so it's too late to do anything about. So
hello, you can't do shit, right? You're old. And you're like, nobody's hiring me at 75. So I say live inside of your passion, because you know what you want to do when you're young. So find some mentor, right? I don't know how many times I've heard this. Find a mentor someone else, right? Depending on how old you are, how much wisdom. I don't even want to put a number on it. How much wisdom you have, right? Because you may look at me and you may be like, what does she know? How's she going to tell me? Well, I'm 50 and I have
You don't look 50, by the way. And you look great.
Thank you.
Kudos to you, Missy.
Listen,
kudos to you.
So I'm grateful. And it's also, too, you know why I look younger now, Vanda? Because I left a job that was killing me from the inside out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I chose my health, which is my true wealth.
And happiness.
And happiness.
We're not taught to choose happiness first. Part of the human experience relates to suffering.
Yes.
In all the religions, right?
All of them.
All of them. All of them.
Suffer yourself, throw yourself on a sword. I mean, and I'm here to say we don't have to suffer.
We don't have to suffer. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. I know that you have to go. For folks that would like to get in touch with you, do you want to just plug yourself right now real quickly before you jump in here?
Absolutely. I am Nikki Brown, aka the Coochie Coach. I am everywhere on social media as the Coochie Coach. That's IG, that's Facebook, that's LinkedIn. Yes, LinkedIn. The professional link, that's me, Nikki Brown, the Coochie Coach. My website is thecoochiecoach.com. You can call me 646-575-1217. Text me first, because I don't take unfamiliar numbers.
She just gave you her personal phone number. Didn't you do that? You did.
I did. That's my business line, but I answer it.
Okay, there we go. She just gave you her phone number. Good for you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your candor. Thank you so much for your authenticity. Thank you so much for your realness.
Thank you.
I know. I heard you were real, but let's do it now. Oh, we love you so much. We love you so much. I hope you'll come back and give us an update soon.
Yes, I got to give you my money update.
We're going to talk about that. Let's make an appointment.
There's cash in the coochie.
Oh, you gotta love her. You gotta love her. Remember, we started with humor,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Didn't I say she was humorous? I said humorous, authentic, right? All of the above. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I thank you so much. Okay, be well, stay safe, and we'll see you again soon.
Okay.
Ashe. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Vanda, your host. You've been listening to Mo Money Mondays. We are here every Monday at 8 p.m., brought to you by All About Us Media. And so, love what you do and have passion, okay, for what you do. I'm rooting for you. Start your own business and go with your passion. Color outside the lines. Darn it. Color outside the lines. No matter how random or how bizarre the first step may feel, just get started. Just get started and follow your dreams. Okay? Especially if you're young, right? Do it while we're young. So, folks, that's all we've got for tonight. Stay safe, stay woke, and live each day with intention. We'll see you next week. Thanks so much. Peace.
You're listening to All About Us Radio. We're live streaming 24/7, playing old school versus new school. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at AAU Media, and visit our website www.aaumedia.com. Call us at 1-833-369-1444, extension 1, and leave us an inspirational message or request. You're listening to All About Us Radio.